In the 1970s, during the momentous Church Committee probe that uncovered a culture of lawlessness within the FBI, Locke Johnson served as the senior aide to U.S. Senator Frank Church, who oversaw the committee. In an exclusive article for New Lines magazine, Johnson warns that the Republicans about to take over the House of Representatives are invoking the Church Committee's legacy not to push for real solutions, as the late senator did, but to obtain impunity for themselves and punish their enemies.
So here's the thing. The grand old party, as they say, the Republican Party, that is about to take over the House of Representatives in the United States. And if you listen to its leaders are saying, they are really targeting the Biden administration. And one of their main targets is the FBI. And what they want to do is slash the FBI's budget. As one of the leading right-wing spokespeople on this topic, someone who used to be acting Attorney General in the Trump administration has put it, they want to turn, and I'm quoting here, turn the FBI upside down, unquote. I have no illusions about the FBI. It has done valuable work and committed terrible abuses. Many leaders of this, let's say, anti-FBI movement are calling for a new church committee. Now, that phrase really caught my attention because I used to be the leading staffer on the church committee led by Senator Frank Church, a Democrat of Idaho, back in 1975-76. Back in 1974, Steve Moore, Hearst, the investigative journalist for the New York Times, revealed in really a bombshell series of articles that the CIA had been spying on American citizens, particularly anti-Vietnam War protesters. So Congress immediately responded to public pressure from virtually every state in the Union to create a special investigative committee to find out whether or not the Times charges were correct about CIA domestic spying. And Church was named chair of that committee, and I had been a congressional fellow in his office a couple of years before, and he asked me to join him for this effort. So I became his aide. As we began to look at the CIA, we soon realized that the wider intelligence community, the CIA, the FBI, the National Security Agency, and several others, we began to find out that these organizations had been involved in inappropriate activities as well. The committee found all kinds of shocking things. For example, the FBI was involved in what's known as the Houston Plan. In 1970, that was a plan prepared by Tom Charles Houston, a White House aide in the Nixon administration, to spy on anti-Vietnam War protesters. And the FBI was joined by the CIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and the National Security Agency, violating a host of laws because the Nixon White House wanted to find out who these protesters were. They thought that the protesters were being funded by Russia. And then, talk about bombshells, we came across the files of the FBI on what's called COINTELPRO. That's a code name for the counterintelligence program, which lasted from 1956 to 1991. Here, J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI, ordered his agents to really conduct domestic covert actions, not just spying on people in this country, but actually to disrupt their lives, indeed ruin their lives if possible. And the targets were Black Americans and anti-war protesters, and even the Ku Klux Klan was put on Hoover's list. Anyone who he thought might be a danger to his view of what America should be like, which is basically conservative, white, and suburban. J. Edgar Hoover viewed the FBI as his personal fiefdom. And as every listener will know, Hoover had his own files on leading members of Congress and even presidents. People in Washington were afraid to cross him for fear that he might reveal information about them that could be embarrassing. So they let him do more or less what he wanted. Hoover was also a racist and attacked Reverend King, and the FBI anonymously attempted to blackmail him by sending him tapes of amorous relations that he'd been involved in. And the anonymous note said, these tapes will be revealed to the public unless you kill yourself. So King, joined with his wife Coretta King, held a press conference and revealed the blackmail plot, never knowing the source of the tapes or the anonymous letters. Only when the Church Committee came along did it become clear that J. Edgar Hoover himself had ordered that, and it was the FBI had gone around tape recording him. Well, the Church Committee did much good, but the FBI, even after 1975, began to wander off the pathway of lawfulness before too long. One thinks of Ruby Ridge, then Waco, and then questions arose more recently about January 6th. Where did the FBI stand on that? Did they know about the insurrection that was going to happen in 2021 in Washington and didn't do anything about it? Were they even sympathetic to the whole thing? These are the questions that the American people don't really have any answers for right now. But the majority in the House of Representatives believes that the FBI has been targeting an entire political party, the Republican Party. And more than that, anyone who might have a conservative point of view. Now, if that's true, then that would be a scandal of great dimensions, and it deserves to be looked at. So a new FBI inquiry seems to be warranted, but it's unlikely to be like the Church Committee, because the Church Committee was very much a bipartisan effort. What I worry about most of all right now is that we have an attack against the FBI that's motivated by partisan revenge on the behalf of conservative Republicans, especially in the House of Representatives. And this could end up being the show trial of the century. And that's not what we need right now. What we do need is more objectivity and more bipartisanship.